All right, Shalom. I want to begin this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Wahar, Rakah, Quadash, which in the ancient Hebrew tongue would be the correct names of the Heavenly Father, His beloved Son, and the Holy Spirit. Also would like to give double honors to my teachers, the head apostles and elders, the great millstone. Much due honors and respect to the sincere brethren out there that's also laboring in His work. And as always, want to say Shalom to the believers, the Akim as well as the Akwak, which will be you brothers along with the sisters that subscribe to this truth as well. So yeah, this lesson right here is going to be pretty much centered around what we now possess, if you will, in the form of this word, which comes with power, which is a power never seen the likes of, especially in relation to our predecessors, meaning we are now able to accomplish things that those before us wasn't able to accomplish. Case in point, when you consider, for an example, the Black Panther Party, or even the Chicano movement of the 60s and 70s, which was centered around the so-called Latin tribes. And that proves that they're Israelites as well. Why? Because we all have one common enemy, man, and that would be the so-called white man. When you consider the 60s and 70s, the time where this was considered to be the awakening, if you will, of the so-called black man, becoming conscious, if you will, and the uprisings, so to speak, driven by the injustice of the so-called white man. Well, guess what? Simultaneously, the so-called Latin tribes was rallying as well, okay? But when you consider amongst those different groups, eventually, they was uprooted mainly due to Esau infiltrating those different groups and overthrowing those movements, which ultimately goes back to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Why? Because that wasn't the method, if you will, that the Lord chose to confound this man, which is a feat that seems virtually impossible to accomplish, man, especially when you consider our ancestors. They would marvel at the fact that this man and his kingdom and his stronghold, okay, his grip on power is dwindling, and it's all centered around something as subtle as this word, Why? Because our people, they see Esau and his reign of terror as being perpetual. They don't see that proverbial light at the end of the tunnel. But again, something as subtle as this word pretty much gives us hope. We could see this man in. All right, matter of fact, you know what? Let me start off real quick in the book of Psalms, the 73rd chapter. And I start at the second verse. It says, "But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped, for I was envious at the foolish." Yeah, and the foolish here would be Esau, the so-called white man, which upon further examination, what you come to find out is this man is a fool indeed. That's why the scriptures say children are our oppressors, man. This man, for his pastime, he damn bungee jumps and rock climb, skydive. All right, anyone who cut down the trees at an alarming rate is certainly a fool, when it's common knowledge that the trees contribute to life by giving off oxygen, man. See that? This man has single-handedly destroyed the planet Earth. Why? Because he's a fool. Again, it says, "But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped, for I was envious at the foolish." See? When I saw the prosperity of the wicked, thus fulfilling the prophecy spoken of in the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter, where this man would be given the fatness of the earth. That's the prosperity of the wicked. Okay, this man have seized control of the resources of the planet Earth. Diamonds, gold, oil, land. See? "For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm." Yeah, and that's the perception of our people. They believe that this man and his strength is firm, his grip of power, They think that this is going to be a perpetual reign. That's why ultimately they concede to the so-called white man. Our people, and their thing is, if you can't beat them, join them. That's why you see them become more acclimated to America. They actually get offended at the thought of this place being destroyed. Why? Because they put their stock into America, man, and whatever the so-called white man has laid out. See? Verse 5, "They are not in trouble as other men, Neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment. Yeah, when you examine the so-called white man, he's covered in violence, driven by their covetousness. You know, this man has hijacked entire continents, you know, seized control of the resources of the planet Earth, oppressed a man in his household and even his heritage, man. This man hasn't gotten one thing diplomatically. In his pursuit to power, bloodshed was left in the wake. See, that's why the scriptures say violence covereth them as a garment. See, their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than the heart can wish. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully. They set their mouth against the heavens, yeah, which is in the form of their laws and legislations. Case in point, the scriptures tell you if a man lieth with mankind, as he lieth with woman, they have both committed an abomination, and they shall surely be put to death. Where the so-called white man turned right around and right into legislation, laws protecting homosexuals, man. See? That's a form of them setting their mouth against the heavens. See, they set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh the earth, meaning the policies of the so-called white man is what dominate the planet Earth. If these other nations don't comply, this man will hit them with sanctions. And if all else fail, he'll just bomb them to hell and back. See? Therefore his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. And they say, how doeth the Most High know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? Yeah, these devils actually question the idea of a higher power, higher than them. They question the validity and the knowledge of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Case in point, the Big Bang Theory. See? Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. And this contributes to this thought process of our people, believing that this man is going to reign forever. Because they see this man prospering, man. You know, therefore they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, that proverbial light. See? Verse 14, for all the day long have I been plagued and chastened every morning. If I say I will speak thus, behold, I shall offend against the generation of thy children. When I thought to know this, it was too painful for me until I went into the sanctuary of the Most High, meaning this gathering. Okay? These thoughts of the so-called white man ruling was painful until we came into this truth. Let's read it again. It said, when I thought to know this, it was too painful for me. Yeah, the fact that the devil is ruling, it seemed like there was no end in sight. See? Until I went into the sanctuary of the Most High. See? Until I went into the sanctuary of the Most High, meaning it's truth. Reading on, it says, then understood I their end. See? Then understood I their end. And this is a luxury our ancestors didn't have, or those who came before us, our predecessors, man. All right? Jake and these different uprisings, they didn't see the end. But guess what? We see the end. And it's all due to something as subtle as this word, which comforts us. Matter of fact, let me grab something real quick before we move further. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, the 4th chapter, in the 1st verse. It says, so I return and consider all the oppression that are done under the sun. And behold, the tears of such as were oppressed. Yeah, and that's concerning you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right? And they had no comforter. See? So our people are oppressed, but they have no comforter. Meaning they don't have an understanding of these scriptures. They don't have this word. All right? It says, and they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors, which is dealing with the so-called white man, there was power. Yeah, so this devil have power, you know. But they had no comforter. Yeah, but our people had no comforter. But when you fast forward to now, the time we in, all right, the Lord has comforted us through this word, which is by way of this word that the so-called white man in his reign of terror is coming to an abrupt end, man. The reason why everything that this man has laid out is now crumbling, you know, from the very infrastructure of this place, the highways and bridges on the verge of a collapse. The American dollar, which had a stronghold on the planet Earth, is at the verge of a collapse. Morally, this place is finished. If there was any morals, ever in the first place. You know, the very fabric of America is becoming unwoven, and it's all due to something as subtle as this word, all right? Because this word is actually a decree. You know, this is Yahweh Shem Shah speaking into existence the end of this current system, all right? Which brings me to the book of Ecclesiastes, the 8th chapter, in the 4th verse. It says, what a word of a king is, there is power. Let's read this again. It says, what a word of a king is, there is power. Meaning what? This word that we speak is the word of the King of Kings, man. So indeed, there's power in this word. See? What the word of a king is, there is power. And who may say unto him, what doest thou? Yeah, you can't question this process. You know? There's nothing you could do to reverse the sanction given by Yahweh Shem Shah. The plan formulated by the Heavenly Father through His Son. Okay? And again, it goes back to this word, which is accomplishing things that our predecessors wasn't able to accomplish. See that? Which brings me to the book of Baal and the Dragon in the Apocrypha. Right? The 1st chapter, in the 26th verse, it says, but give me leave, O king. See? We just read that what a word of a king is, there's power. So who is giving us leave? Who is giving us the jurisdiction? The King of Kings, man, and the Lord of Lords. Yahweh Shem Shah. See? But give me leave, O king, and I shall slay this dragon without sword or staff. Yes, so something as subtle as this word is destroying this dragon, which translates to Esau in his current beast system. Let's read it again. But give me leave, O king, and I shall slay this dragon without sword or staff. See? The king said, I give thee leave. Yes, so we have the jurisdiction to overthrow this man. We overthrowing the very foundation of the planet Earth, which is America. All right? This dynasty, if you will, that has dominated and ruled over the planet Earth. Again, something as subtle as this word is overthrowing this man. Matter of fact, this is Deuteronomy, the 12th chapter, in the 3rd verse. It says, and ye shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars. See that? And break their pillars. And a pillar symbolizes your stability. See? And burn their groves with fire, and ye shall hew down the graven images of their gods and destroy the names of them out of that place. So we overthrowing this place across the board. All right? So the scripture said we're going to burn their groves with fire. Now, is this a literal fire? Are we going to go around and vandalize different spots in Babylon? No. It's by way of this word. See? Matter of fact, this is out of the book of Jeremiah, the 23rd chapter, in the 29th verse. It says, is not my word like as a fire? See? Is not my word like as a fire, saith the Lord, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces? Yeah, and what's this rock right here? America. So this word is what's breaking up America, man. It's this word that's consuming this place, America, like a fire. See that? And this is how we are overthrowing and breaking down this stronghold. See? 2 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, in the 4th verse. It says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, see, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds. Let's read this again. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. All right, that's why we just read in Baal and the Dragon that we would slay this dragon without sword or staff. All right, and we will overthrow this place by something as subtle as this word. So you see the power that comes along with having this truth, man. This is actually effective, man. Something our people have been banging their head against the wall, trying to come up with a formula to overcome their enemies. And the Lord had the answers, you know, right here in the form of this word. See that? Why? Because where the word of a king is, there's power. See, again, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. You know, we don't march, we don't lock arms, We don't have any standing army. We don't have this show of force in the form of a damn military, the Black Panther approach. No, that's carnal, see? For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai to the pulling down of strongholds. So when you see the current events, all right, you see America crumbling, the infrastructure of this place. You see America being brought to the border of war. All right? You see the future being bleak. Do you understand it's due to this word? See that? This is what pulling down, this is what's pulling down, should I say, this stronghold, which is America, man. See that? So it's something as subtle as this word. It's nothing carnal. Now, this is a spiritual war, and the sword that we're using to take this man down would be the scriptures. Let's get that. This is Ephesians, the book of Ephesians, the 6th chapter. Starting at the 13th verse, it says, "Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand, stand therefore having your loins girt about with truth." See, again, it's this truth, man. It's this word that is accomplishing the feat of overthrowing the so-called white man. See that? And by having access to this word, by possessing this word, there's power that comes with that. See that? "Stand therefore having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye are able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked." Verse 17, "And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit." See, and the sword of the Spirit. Now, is this a carnal sword? No. It's a spiritual sword, see? And the sword of the Spirit, which is the word, see? Which is the word of the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. See that? So what we possess is a power, which have never been seen the likes of, man. Again, especially in relation to our ancestors and our predecessors, those who came before us, man. If they only knew the things concerning their peace, the things that would lead to them being liberated from under the foot of their oppressors. They didn't understand it was something as subtle as this word, and that shows you the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. This is a miraculous work indeed, man. The fact that the Lord is confounding, this powerhouse, if you will, in the form of Esau and his military by something as subtle as words, man. When you sit back and pay attention to that, it's something to marvel at indeed, man. This is a beautiful piece of work right here by Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Matter of fact, let me grab something else real quick before we close. This is 2nd Maccabees, the 15th chapter, and starting at the 15th verse. It says, "Whereupon Jeremiah, holding forth his right hand, gave to Judas a sword of gold, and giving it, spake thus." Take this holy sword. Yeah, we just read that this sword right here, this right here is symbolic to the Spirit, okay? The sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. So you got to understand this. The Lord equipped us, if you will, with the necessary tools to navigate through Babylon. And a part of that weaponry, that armor, if you will, is the sword of the Spirit. And it was given an effort to overthrow this man. All right? And we're overthrowing this man with a spiritual sword. This is not carnal. Esau is being cut spiritually. We have wounded this man's spirit, and that's something you can't overcome. Matter of fact, I'm going to go back here, but let me grab some real quick to support that in the book of Proverbs, the 18th chapter and the 14th verse. It says, "The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear?" Let's read this again. "The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit," see? "But a wounded spirit who can bear?" And how do you wound someone's spirit? with a spiritual sword. See that? Which translates to this word. Man, this word has Esau confounded, man. That's why you see this man scrambling. You know, you see this level of desperation on display, you know, and it's all an effort to try to retain his kingdom, you know. Well, guess what? That's him showing you that he's wounded. His spirit is wounded. And again, the only way you can wound someone's spirit is by using a spiritual weapon. See, again, the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit, who can bear? See, which brings us back to 2 Maccabees, the 15th chapter, starting at the 15th verse again, whereupon Jeremiah, holding forth his right hand, gave to Judas a sword of gold, and giving it, spake thus, take this holy sword, see, which is symbolic to this word. A gift, right, this truth is a gift from the Most High, with the which thou shalt wound thine adversary, see, with the which thou shalt wound thine adversary. And we just read a wounded spirit who can bear. So Esau is wounded, you know. So again, we're in beautiful times. We're in a time where this man and his reign of terror is coming to an end. Okay, Esau and this powerhouse, if you will, this dynasty was seen as if it would never be overthrown. And the very thought of it seemed to be a feat impossible to accomplish. But now here we are. Okay, and we seeing this man fall. Okay, we witnessing the fall of our enemies, man. You know, and it's all due to something as subtle as this word. So yeah, I just want to touch on that. Lord willing, it was edifying. Till the next time I say shalom.